2013, I went to an event over at Family Health ISIS, which was a fundraising event, tribute and workshop session in the name of Leah Correen. The event started around 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. and it has been a while since I've been over to Family Health ISIS, which is based over at I think one Asbidel Road at Lee in the Lewisham Borough. Family Health ISIS moved from Catford branch to the Lee Centre, but before I continue, I'm sure many of you are asking, what does Family Health ISIS do? Now, taken from their site, which is www.familyhealthisis.org.uk, the aim of Family Health ISIS is to provide an African Caribbean mental health centre to meet the needs of African Caribbean people with mental health problems in the London Borough of Lewisham. ISIS symbolises 4 important things for the BME community. One of the important things is that the empowerment of people to take control of their lives and future through nurturing and independence. The second being that education of people to be more aware of the effects of mental ill health and to challenge all forms of oppression and ignorance that perpetuates stigma through to wisdom. The third thing ISIS symbolises is to encourage people of African Caribbean descent to realise their potential and lead active and positive lives through power, and the last being to promote respect for individuals' rights, dignity and humanity through caring and affirmation. Now, ISIS provide the following for the Black, African and Caribbean service users and carers, and they offer assistance where it's most needed. They run the following workshops, being art workshop, a sewing workshop, women's group, men's group, music workshops, social gathering, aqua aerobics, and they also provide advocacy, which I've used at times, besides a few other things that I might not have mentioned. Now, going back to the event, while I was waiting for the event to start, I looked around at some leaflets about what ISIS provide on the tables and stalls. However, I began to ask myself, who was Leah and why was ISIS doing a fundraising event in her name? Well, a lot of information was provided by Nadia Brown, who was very, very close to Leah. Leah Correen Rayburn, born 15th of the 8th, 1980, and transitioned on the 26th to 7th, 2013, Leah spent a lot of time volunteering and working with ISIS to support the black community, and a very strong young lady. Her energy was spent lifting others up through difficult times. Despite being known to social services as a child for various reasons, Leah grew up to be a very independent, self-sufficient, well-spoken and determined young lady. She was known for her community-minded attitude and consistency, and above all, she was honest, caring and thoughtful individual. One of her favourite African sayings was, "It takes a village to raise a child." Hence, part of the name of the event, How to Raise a Village Within a City, and we'll come on to that in a moment. Now, Leah stood up for what she believed in, and she was never afraid to speak her mind whilst always reserving respect for others. Leah had friends of all age groups, social classes and races, but remained African-centered and consistently herself with each and every person. You accepted her for who she was or you didn't. Leah was Leah and she never changed. People could tell stories of her straight-talking, no-nonsense character, her love of music, wisdom, and that she was an old spirit. This opinion of her was noted by all, from her youth all the way into adulthood. Leah was extremely talented and had a beautiful singing voice. As a child, she had performed on stage since the age of 4 and attended dance school. Leah was encouraged and inspired by her mother in music and loved to listen to a vast range such as reggae, ragga, soul, R&B and classical. Leah is survived by her son, A.C. Rabin, I hope I got that name right, who she referred to as Black Man of the Future, and her son being S.U.N. After A.C. was born, over the years, Leah had a number of epileptic seizures, and so A.C. unintentionally became a carer to Leah, as he would be the one to alert help when he knew she was having an episode. Leah asked social services if they could suggest anything that could be of some assistance due to her living on her own with a medical condition whilst having a young child, but they said that there was nothing that they could do. Leah's seizures were random and she never knew when they were about to happen. Plus, they were not improving with medical treatment. Finally, in the year 2013, a judgment was ruled that her son AC would be kept in foster care permanently. Leah was devastated at the news, and this decision undeniably put her through an overwhelming amount of stress. But very quickly she picked herself up and tried to see the positive in this traumatic sequence of events. Leah had a saying that everything happens for a reason, and she put her faith in the fact that her fortune would change and she would one day be reunited with her son. The week before she died, she had made contact with many of her friends, arranging for a reunion for Platform 1 members at a club that was closing down called the Motown Bar, and those who live in and around Lewisham or Catford may know what I'm talking about. All that saw and spoke to her in the last few weeks stated independently that she looked very happy and that she was glowing. On the 21st of July 2013, her neighbour reports that she was playing her music loudly in the morning as normal. Leah then went on to Brockwell Park to meet friends and enjoyed some music. She then went out later that evening with her friend and danced to African drums. A text was sent from Leah to her friend when she got home on the 21st of the 7th, 2013, at 11:46 p.m. The text read, "Thank you for such a great night." This is the lasting thought that Nadia has sent me, which was also written by Leah to herself, which was found at her home after she transitioned. Everything happens for a reason. If my path wasn't the way it has been, I would not be the person that I am today. That is why, although I still have a long way to go, I can pat myself on the back, I can look in the mirror now and give me a kiss. I love me. I love Leah. The more I find myself and am true to me, the more I help others. Self-empowerment is a painful but wonderful, invigorating journey. It is a difficult story to say. Since Leah was a strong woman, one cannot help to notice she had a very difficult life, and with a bit more support, who could say what would have been different? Going back to the event, many books on black history and empowerment and interest were on display. We also had Nadia, Shireen and Beverly helping to sell some of Leah's things to raise funds. The main feature of this day was a discussion called How to Raise a Village Within a City. This was about how we can learn from our mistakes and best support vulnerable people in our community, and what it would take for us to change in order to be successful at this task. There was also music, food and drink on sale, a raffle, and they also sold some of Leah's belongings, all in effort to raise money for her son, AC, and for her son's trust fund, with a donation towards Family Health ISIS. Now, while I was at the event, I heard a speech or talk given by Sister Sharon, who works at Family Health ISIS, and spoke how she got to know Leah. Now, she met Leah through a music workshop, and she talked a bit more about what ISIS does for the community, and how the black community are raised to be carers. Sister Sharon feels that the community at large is still distant, and feels that even though in the UK it is their laws and systems, however, although black people are beginning to settle in, if black people neglect each other, then we can only hurt ourselves even more, because it's not our laws fully, and it's not our system. What has gone wrong in the black community? And I don't know if anyone can remember the name of this person I'm going to mention. Her name is Joyce Vincent, and I believe she died in 2003. And taken from Wikipedia, it says here that Joyce was a British woman of Caribbean and Indian descent who died in 2003 in her bedsit flat in Wood Green, North London. Her body lay undiscovered for approximately 3 years. How terrible to hear of such things, and this goes to show that even as a community, we can become lost and ignore others to such a point perhaps we should question how civilized we are. We have to adapt, and we have to get back to caring not only for ourselves but for others, those that are vulnerable and strong. We cannot leave this up to social services alone. We must act as a community of strong brothers and sisters, gaining knowledge, history and guidance from our elders. Sister Sharon spoke how ISIS has been going through difficult times and has existed for 28 years. Although ISIS exists for those suffering mental health difficulties through the black and African communities in Lewisham, it was stated that Leah was not known to have a mental health issue, even though she came to help ISIS. Sister Sharon felt Leah was a real community person. I noticed someone in the audience spoke about why Joyce Vincent died in such circumstances, and mentioned it was the problem of families falling out with each other. She felt that it was through jealousy, something so trivial, which led to such devastating results. Sharon felt that social services who have boxes on their forms state that it's all backwards. She felt that they tend to check the boxes first before they look at the needs of the vulnerable. Soon we got to hear from Nadia, Leah's dear friend, and what she was doing in Leah's name. Nadia celebrated the life and times of Leah by holding a gathering at the British Holistic Therapy and Counselling Centre, which was done on the 15th of August. They also gathered at the Horniman Museum Gardens, and from I think 12, they place that Leah loved to visit. And whilst they were there, they listened to salsa music and shared memories of Leah, and feel that it would be planting a tree, which they are seeking permission to plant a tree at Horniman Gardens as a dedication to Leah and a place for people to pay their respects. They've also done a tribute book, which they'll be putting all of Leah's tributes and photos and post those on Facebook. And they'll be doing a documentary, and at this time they're currently collecting film footage and vocal recordings from friends and family, so they can put that together in a documentary, and an annual celebration which they'll organise in celebration of Leah's life in an attempt to bring the community together on her birthday, which is the 15th of August, every year, to remember her legacy and the living example she has set for us all. Now, going to the workshop, which looked at how to empower us, that's not only the black community. A lot of other communities can learn from this. But they actually looked on to how to raise a village within a city. And the attendees of this event came up with the principles which they must have for the community. And they're a list of, I think, from 1 to 16. And I feel perhaps the first one, going from 1 to 16, is perhaps the first one being the most important. But however you look at them, I think they're all important. Now, number 1 is communication. Number 2 is social relationships, bonding, strong family unit. Remember that someone mentioned earlier on that things fall apart when families break down and they argue with each other through jealousy. Number 3 is morals and values, very important. Number 4 is structure. 5 is respect. 6 is responsibility and accountability. 7 is live by example and not just by words. 8 is building of support systems and utilizing the extended family. Stand strong for brothers and sisters. 9 is setting boundaries. 10 is love. 11 is care. 12 is standing up for what is right. 13 is commitment. 14 is consistency. 15 is maintenance, and 16 is fight off intruders. It's all nice saying that this is the things we need, and then we all go away and forget all this thing. There needs to be actions. There needs to be effect. So at the event, they came up with a list of actions for the immediate and long-term implementation, and these were the 7 points that were suggested. Number 1 is to have regular meetings and perhaps fundraisers once every 3 months. 2 is to implement something community focused in our lives, something realistic. A suggestion was to eat with your family at the table if possible, at least once a week. Number 3 is to have our own carers or Meals on Wheels service for those people whose mobility is restricted. 4 is to have a place of respite for those in need, either at home or abroad. 5 is to have a 24-hour support line, contact or advice for someone to listen on a rota basis. And 6 is for transportation. If you see someone you know and you drive, please stop and ask if you can drop them off at the nearest possible area diverting your course. And 7 is protection within our community. And this is all local. So, okay, what did I learn from this event? I felt that I was contributing to the community, as not only did I just take some pictures and interview others, but also help set up a bookstore for someone there called Elder, I hope I haven't got his name right, but Pepukai. I learned a lot about people's perceptions of the problems of the community and what they feel should aid the community in where all feel that they belong. And as I said, being vulnerable, or if you're strong, that they belong to that community. I do hope to return back to Family House ISIS to perhaps cover another event